That does not look good. This doesn't look good either, though. Hello, how are you? I'm Julia, and for this video, I'm going to be talking about the books that I didn't talk about in 2021 that I read in 2021. So I have 16 books. The first one that I'm going to talk about, I didn't finish, but Goodreads, because I started it, I'm really weird. What was it called? So the first one that I'm going to talk about is called The 2-Night, 1-Night Stand by Ryan Ringbloom. I usually don't put on Goodreads that I'm reading a book until I'm about 50 pages in, because then I decide if I'm going to continue or I'm going to put it down. And I usually never DNF. I'm not a person that doesn't finish a book, because I always want to give people like the benefit of the doubt and finish something because I think it'll get better. This, I think I got 30 pages into it. I got to page 36. And I just couldn't do it anymore. I was like, no. The only reason I started, like, I put it on my Goodreads was because it was like my last book of the year and I wanted to put it on there so that I could finish it. I did not finish it. But, so this, Holly and Matthew, this follows Holly and Matthew. Holly just got out of a breakup like 10 months before, and her friend is like, you need to meet new people, like you need to go out on a date. So she sets her up with her brother, and she's like, he's gonna show up as a doctor, you can dress up as like a nurse, it'll be so funny. And Holly goes to this bar and she sees Matthew, who is actually a doctor, dressed in scrubs. And she walks up to him and she's like, you're late, like, where have you been? And he's like really confused, but he rolls with it, which I thought was kind of messed up. So he goes and he hangs out with her, does not tell her that he is not who she thinks he is, and ends up sleeping with her. And this author is the definition of a man writing a woman's thoughts and having absolutely no idea how women think at all. I actually have the paperback because I had just watched The 2-Night Stand with Miles Teller, and I can't remember the actress's name, but I love that movie. I think it's so cute. So I wanted something of like the same vibes, and this obviously popped up, but I can't find it. I can't find the paperback, and I don't feel like looking for it. So I gave this 1 star because I did DNF it. So, okay, I put stuff in my review because I am terrible. So the author has Holly compare herself to a high-end call girl, which was weird, because Matthew, when they start to have sex, Matthew asks Holly to keep her thigh highs on because she's like a sexy nurse, and he's like, oh no, keep them on. And she's like, I'm like a high-end call girl, like, and I just thought that was dumb. I didn't like it. And it just really bothered me that he lied to her, and then like he didn't tell her, I didn't read this part, but he didn't tell her that he wasn't who she thought he was until the next day, because her friend called and was like, why didn't you meet my brother? So, not a fan. The next book is Fall Into Me by Mila Gray. I've read this entire series, and the only book that I don't think I was, like, I closed it, like, loving was, Stay With Me, and that's the second book in the series. These are all a series of standalones, so you don't have to read all of them, but a lot of the characters are interconnected. So, for instance, Will in this one is connected to the sister, like the main character in the last book, Watch Over Me. So that's his sister, and he's in the army or the Marines or something. I don't know. He's in the military. All of the men are in the military in this series. So he comes home from the military and needs a job, and he ends up meeting Luna at a party. He sees her and this guy arguing, and she, like, says something to him, and it's really dramatic, and he's like, okay, and he leaves, and he's told by a friend of his that she actually needs a bodyguard. So he speaks to her mom, and she's like, yeah, like, we can do it, because she's getting death threats, and no one's telling her that she's getting death threats. She knows very little about it, if anything at all about it, or, like, she thinks that it's ended. So Will comes in, and he starts to be her bodyguard. She's pissed about it, and they eventually fall in love. I didn't like this at all. I don't think Luna at all matured. Like, she was just completely childish throughout the entire book. She didn't have any character development or growth at all, and I think that really bothered me. I liked Will. Like, I liked his character. There was nothing wrong with him, but I also felt that he was kind of just there to tell Luna to calm down, because she has panic attacks, and she takes, like, medication for it, so people think she's on drugs. Like, she's, like, a famous singer. Forgot to mention that, but, like, everyone thinks she's on drugs, so because she has panic attacks, and, like, while she's having a panic attack, she'll take, like, a pill to calm herself down. And she just never really grew up, or, like, and not even because of her anxiety, but just the only reason that she ended up being okay with having a bodyguard was because she fell in love with him, and that just bothered me. And I didn't like that Will was kind of just there to be like, it's okay, calm down, everything's fine, and to hug her. It just bothered me. And the whole thing, like, I love a good cliche book that you can just, like, whip through and know what happens and just finish it in a day. I didn't finish this in a day. I thought I would, but I didn't. I think it took me a week. Oh yeah, it took me 10 days. It took me 10 days to read this, which it shouldn't have. It's not that big. So yeah, there's not much else to say about this. The only thing that I will give to the author, because I didn't know who was sending her the death threats. I thought it was one person, and I was like, that would make sense because the person was giving someone letters and stuff, but it was someone completely obvious. I was like, oh, it must be that person. And then I was like, no, I was like, that's way too obvious. It can't be that person. But I was wrong. So I'll give it to her that way. Like, she gave us the obvious and I was wrong. So read it, don't read it, it's completely up to you, but I don't really think that if you finish on Watch Over Me, like, if you read the series, that would be fine. Like, or you can just read one or two of them. So the next book is Books and Libraries, Poems. This is just a collection of, like, poetry and, like, snippets from, like, classic books and things like that. So there's not one particular author, but some of these things I really enjoyed, some of them I didn't, but I thought it was very pretty, so I bought it, and I did like it. There are some things that I was like, oh, that's nice, and, I think, oh god, what was my favorite one? There was one, like, I wish I would have written it down. Like, this one is, like, a poet, like, poems about librarians. I can't find, there was one about, like, I can't remember, but it was, if you like classics, this would be for you. That was terrible, I'm sorry. The next one is Good Morning, Good Night, Little Pep Talks for Me and You by Lin-Manuel Miranda and illustrated by Johnny Sun. I really enjoyed this. I gave this 5 stars on Goodreads. Lin-Manuel Miranda started this on Twitter, just, like, saying, like, good morning, and then, like, positive things, and then saying good night, and kind of taking the same thing, but, like, changing it slightly. So, like, good morning, face the day. If the day looms too large, kick it in the shins so it has to face you. Good night. Way to face the day. Now climb into bed with the night and draw the shades. So, like, I really enjoyed this. Like, I have a journal that I write down, like, positive quotes and things in, and I wrote a couple of these down. So if you need, like, little pep talks, like, this is really good. I really enjoyed it. I did not listen to the audiobook, but a friend of mine I work with, she did. And she said that it's phenomenal. Lin-Manuel Miranda does the voice, so I'm sure it's fantastic. I just haven't listened to it. Next is The Hill We Climb by Amanda Gorman. I didn't know. I thought this was more than what it was, but I watched Joe Biden's inauguration, and I listened to this, and I thought that it was more than just the poem that she read on stage at the inauguration. It's not. Highly recommend, if you didn't see it though, to watch it or to pick this up and read it. It was fantastic. Like, I don't think like, she was there for a reason, and it's great, so read it. Or go listen to her read it. So the next one is Apologies That Never Came by Pierre Alex Genty. If you couldn't tell, I was really trying to smush in the last month, trying to hit my reading goal on Goodreads, and I read a lot of poetry because of that. So I gave this one 3 stars. Again, I say this every time I read a poetry book. I don't know how to review poetry, so this isn't something that I can be like, this was fantastic, or this sucked, because it was kind of just, I read it, and not that I didn't, like, read it because I wanted to read it. Like, I did enjoy it, but also there were some things that stuck with me, some things that didn't stick with me, and this one wasn't one that really stuck with me after I was done reading it. So yeah, I thought it was good, but it wasn't the greatest poetry I've ever read. But someone else could review that and be like, this was fantastic, so probably listen to them. So the next one is The Xhex by Erin Sterling. This was one of the books that I think I can't remember where I saw it, but I was like, wow, that looks super cute. It sounds super cute, and I was really excited to read it, and it took me forever to read. So this follows Vivian and Reese, and Vivian and Reese, they dated for like they had like a summer thing. She lives in this town, Graves Glen, Georgia. So she lives in Graves Glen, Georgia, where they have a magic college, which is, it's kind of like a Halloween town, but not, because none of the other people, there's like, the witches know that the college is there, but no one else does. So if you're not a witch, you don't know that it exists. You don't know that the magic exists. So Reese, who is like a descendant of the person who founded the town, he goes to that college for the summer, meets Vivian, and then leaves because he doesn't live there. And he kind of breaks her heart. So one night, she, like, after he's left, she's in the bath, and she's just, like, heartbroken about it, and her cousin is like, let's cast a spell. Kind of, like, jokingly. And then she's like, I curse you, Reese Penhallow. And he comes back 9 years later, and he's actually cursed. So that's kind of how all of this starts. I gave this 3 stars. I thought it was super fun. The magic in it, I thought was great. Like, it started out, like, with a bang. Like, with her hexing him. Like, that's how it starts out. And I thought that was so fun to read. And then he comes back, and there's more magic. And, like, the magic was really fun. And there were a couple of cute moments with Reese and Vivian. But it was extremely anticlimactic towards the end. Like, I felt like it was kind of like, that's it. So I really I liked Reese and Vivian. I thought that they were cool. I thought that their relationship was nice. I liked them as individuals, like Reese kind of dealing with his father and the magic, and kind of being like, dude, why did you hex me? And things like that. And Vivian being like, she's a very strong witch, and people underestimate of her, especially Reese, and him kind of like seeing her do the magic and be like the witch that she is. I thought that was nice. I do think that this got a lot of hype that it didn't deserve, but maybe that's why I didn't really like it. This isn't something that I would go back to, but it might be something that I recommend to someone. So, I don't know. It's kind of in the middle for me. Read it if you like witchy things. But I don't know. It's kind of meh. I don't know. So, the next book is And Every Morning the Way Home Gets Longer and Longer by Frederick Bachman. I gave this 5 stars. This is about an old man who has Alzheimer's, and he's sitting on a bench in his head with his grandson, and they're talking about his life and him kind of forgetting it, and how, like, there's a scene where he talks about how there's a road and there's like a dam or something, or like a bridge, I can't remember, but it's blocked and he can't go there, and his grandson is like, why is that blocked? And he's like, I just can't go there anymore. And this, it was so good. I loved this so much. I cried. I thought this was absolutely gorgeous. The writing was amazing. There's also little, let me see if, yeah. Oh no, that's not the book. Let me see. There's also like little, pictures in it, that kind of correlate with what's happening in the book and in the old man's brain. I really loved this. I think everyone should read it. It's short. I think it was only like 85 pages. This was my first Frederick Bachman as well, and it was just so good. I highly recommend. And I will definitely be reading more of him. I have a couple of his books. I have like Beartown and Us Against You and Anxious People. So I want to read those. I've heard he's fantastic, and I think that he definitely deserves that hype. So the next book is To Drink Coffee with a Ghost by Amanda Lovelace. Again, another poetry book. I gave this 3 stars. I did read the first one in this year, so I'm not going to put it in this video, but I'm going to put it in another one. But I liked this one more than that one. It might just be personal preference and what she wrote about, but I thought this one was really beautiful, and I liked what she wrote about in this. So yeah, I gave it 3 stars. Recommend. So the next book is Window Shopping by Tessa Bailey. I forgot about this one, so I have 17 books, not 16. So this follows Stella and Aiden. Stella has just gotten out of prison. She's moved to New York, and she is trying to turn around her life. So she is standing in front of the window display at Vivant, and this guy walks up to her who's full of Christmas attire and is like, basically asks her about the window, and she's like, well, this is boring. Like, the window display is basically like penguins making the gifts, and she's like, you don't want people to think that they're getting something that everyone else is getting. You want them to think that they're getting something special. And she kind of sells herself to this guy, like, about the window display, and he's like, you should apply, and she's like, I don't think so. And so he's very happy-go-lucky and like loves Christmas, and she's just like kind of like down on herself, and he's like, you should just apply, just see what happens. So she goes home and she's like, fine. So she applies. Next day he opens up interviews, and she shows up and then runs away, and he's like, you should stay, like, let's do a thing, like, you have like a week to sell it, and then we'll decide then if you're hired. And as this is all happening, they have the cutest moments. I don't know, I love Christmas, so maybe that's why I loved this so much, but I thought they were both just absolute perfection as individuals, and then together, also absolute perfection. Loved them. Like, they played like a little game. They played a little game where they ran around the store and like got something that they thought the other would want for Christmas. And she got him binoculars, and he got her a necklace so that she could put the key to the window display door around her neck so that she wouldn't get locked in anymore, because she got locked in and he had to save her. And I just loved them. I loved the grumpy sunshine, but like it was reversed. So she was grumpy and he was sunshine. And the way that he dealt with his family and her issues with her parents, like not even issues really, but like I liked her self-awareness about what she had done and kind of why she had done it and things like that. I just really enjoyed this, and I thought that there was like just the right amount of spice for this particular book. Like it wasn't like overly sexual, but it was also just like it happened perfectly, and I thought it was written very well. This is also my first Tessa Bailey, and I understand the hype. I really enjoyed this. People say that she has better. I do plan to read more of her, but I really liked this, and I think you should read this even if it's not Christmas time, because it was great. So the next book is Twisted Games by Anna Huang. This follows Reese and Bridget. Yes, Reese and Bridget. So Bridget, if you didn't read Twisted Love, Bridget is one of Ava's friends. She goes to this college, but she's a princess, I believe England, and so she has to have a bodyguard. And her bodyguard that she's had forever is having a baby, I believe, so he goes home and they have to send her another bodyguard. And that's where Reese comes in. And she hates him. She doesn't like him at all. She just finds him annoying, and like her other bodyguard gave her like a little bit of leeway and he's not giving her any. But this is definitely like a hate to love, and I loved it. This was just, it was good. I liked it. I don't really know what else to say about it. I think I liked this one a little more than Twisted Love. Like, I don't know, maybe it's because I want to be a princess. I have no idea. But, so they're secret. Like, they clearly, like, they can't, she has to be, that was, like, the drama. Okay, so her brother, who's older than her, has to, he's going to be king. But he falls in love with someone who is not of, like, royal bloodline or something. And, that, not incestual in, like, that kind of way, but, like, he has to fall in love with someone who can help their country. So, like, an arranged marriage type of thing. So he, oh my god, what's it called? Abdicates, I think. Abnegates? I can't remember the word. I think I'm close, though. He basically says, no, I don't want the crown because I'm going to marry this girl. So she is now next in line. And of course, she falls in love with her bodyguard. And it creates this whole thing of, like, what do we do? Because I can't marry you. And they have her, like, in kind of, like, starting the process of an arranged marriage. And I loved this a lot. I really liked the relationship. Like I said, I like the secretness of it. I liked Reese. And, like, not only was he, like, protective in, like, she's a princess type of way, but he's protective in a that's my girl kind of way, and I loved that. Bridget, I liked her too. I thought she was very smart and very, like, kind of, she thought, like, with her head a lot of the time. And, the gazebo scene, that was good. So the only issue that I kind of have with this is, I don't think we know the girl group enough to care that they're getting books, because, so, like, the first one, we get a lot of Ava and Alex, and we get very little of Bridget, and then, like, we kind of get the end of Twisted Love, which is, like, them saying that her brother has, he's quit the throne, and, so that kind of is like, ooh, like, cliffhanger for this book. And, like, okay, but I feel like I would like more of their friendship to be invested more in them as people and then their relationship, if that makes sense. So yeah, I wish we would have gotten more of the girl group. Like, we get, I believe, like a scene or two, but would have liked more. And, like, also it made sense because she is in another country, but I think that it should have happened more in Twisted Love. I can't remember if I said that in my review for that one, but I did enjoy it. I recommend it. So the next book is Make It Sweet by Kristen Callahan. This follows Emma and Lucien. Emma is like she's a famous actress on this TV show. I think it's explained kind of as like Game of Thrones-esque, and she gets killed off. And she's kind of upset about it, but she's kind of like, I'm gonna go and be away because it has to be, like, secretive. Like, it's a very secret TV show. So she goes to this little, like, she goes to an estate in California. That's what the back is saying. An estate in California, where she meets Lucien. Well, actually, he picks her up from the airport. And Lucien used to be a hockey player, and he hurt himself. Like, he got, like, one too many concussions and can no longer play. So he gets, like, massive migraines and stuff, and, like, on the way home, he picks her up, and he kind of just is, like, going like this, and she notices, and she's like, oh, I have to pee. And so he stops, and then she's like, can I drive? So she drives so he can sleep. I thought that was so sweet. I loved that. He also bakes, and, like, that's, like, this, where the sweet comes in, I think. Is it Make It Sweet? Oh, yeah, it is. The it is right there. So he bakes, and she kind of just, like, chills there, and I liked this a lot. It did take me a minute to get through it. Well, not really. I don't know. I think if I read something longer than 2 days and it takes me too long. That's not true. But yeah, so I liked them a lot. I liked their relationship. It was very friendship to lovers. I don't even know if you would consider it enemies. I liked that they kind of bonded over their losses. Like, they're both going through tremendous loss in their life. Him with his hockey, and her with, like, her TV show that, like, started out her career. And I liked that they bonded over that, and they could be like, yeah, I miss it. And it wasn't, like, super over dramatic. Like, does that make sense? Like, he's not like, I live for hockey, I love it, blah, blah, blah. And she's not like, this is the end of my life because I don't have this job anymore. It was just very, like, mutual understanding, and I liked that a lot. Like, it was very mature and adult. So I think this is very slow burn. I like slow burn in, like, a non-slow burn type of way. Like, I want it to go fast, but I also want it to be in, like, an organic, loving kind of way. Like, they fall in love in a nice way, not super quick, like 2 days later. And I think for me, this went a little too slow burn, but I can understand why people liked that so much, because when it did happen, it was great. I loved it. Yes, I did feel like it was a little drawn out at times, but in the end, I did really like how they got together. Like, it made sense, and it was very organic and loving, and I liked it. The ending of this, I liked how he kind of had to figure it out for himself. I liked that. Even though everyone was like, this is stupid. I don't want to, like, give it away, but, like, I am going to give it away. This is a spoiler, possibly. One of his hockey friends comes back, and he's like, yeah, we could use you on the team. And he basically goes back, and it's dumb, because he could deeply hurt himself and his brain, but he goes and he plays a game, and he comes back, and he's like, yeah, I don't need to do that. Like, it's very dangerous. And he ends up opening a bakery or something, and it's really, I liked that. I liked the ending. I liked that it was very realistic. Like, don't be stupid. So I also liked Lucian. I thought he was very, like, can I say like again? Lucian was he was very closed off, but in, like, an understandable way. So this is, again, another, like, grumpy sunshine, and I liked him. And I thought that Emma was very understanding of that, because he was definitely more closed off than she was. So she was kind of opening him up to her, and again, I liked how organic and nice that was. The next one is The Little Prince by Anton de Saint-Exupéry. This is about a little prince who has a planet, and he decides to leave his planet, and he visits all of the other planets, and he gets to Earth, and he meets someone in the military, like a pilot. That was my plane. He meets a pilot, and they talk while he fixes his plane. And I really enjoyed this. I thought it was super cute. I liked his little adventure. I liked the overall message of it. And this is definitely something I'll, like, read to my kids one day. I thought this was super cute. I wanted to watch the movie and I never did. So maybe I'll do that now. The next one is An Unconventional Christmas Love Story by Ellie Hall. So this follows Minnie and Tyler. Minnie and Tyler have been best friends forever, and I can't exactly remember what's going on in this book. I didn't like it. So basically, they are best friends, and then one night, her boss is dumb and makes their Christmas, like, Santa display more scary than Christmassy. So, and she's dressed up like a stupid elf, and she sees Tyler at work. He, like, comes to visit her or something, and her boss shows up, and Tyler basically says, yeah, we're engaged, and Minnie's like, yup, like, goes along with it, and I feel like this had a lot of promise, but it didn't work out. That she wrote her characters, she writes like a 15-year-old girl. Like, this belonged on Wattpad, and she wrote these characters as if they had never grown up, like they were 15 forever, even while they're in their 30s. And I just didn't like it. I didn't really connect with either character. I thought Minnie was annoying, and I thought Tyler was immature, and I just didn't like it. It just, like, Minnie was squealing with glee at one point, and then they actually get married, and it all happens within, like, less than a week. And not that, like, that's dumb, like, they've known each other for their entire lives, but it just didn't feel very real to me. I don't know, it just didn't make any sense to me, because you guys have never had any feelings towards each other ever. She's had a crush on him. Well, I guess they have, I don't know, but they just have never gone forward with it. I just didn't like this. I didn't like the writing. I didn't like the characters. It didn't get me very in the Christmas mood. I thought the cover was cute. So, I don't know what else to say. It's just... Next is Rumple Buttercup by Matthew Gray Gubler. I'm starting to lose my voice. This follows Rumple Buttercup, who has, like, 3 pieces of hair and weird feet and like crooked teeth, green skin, and he just wants to go to the parties in the town, so he puts a banana peel on his head to like hide himself. I thought this was super cute, and I really enjoyed it. I also really enjoy Matthew Gray Gubler, and I thought the illustrations were cute. So recommend this. It's a cute kid story. Like, read it to your kid. Read it as an adult. I thought it was super cute, and I liked it. Next is Lore Olympus by Rachel Smith. This is a graphic novel. I actually dropped this last night and broke the spine. But graphic novel, Hades and Persephone's retelling. I'm not really a graphic novel reader, but this was so hyped up, I was like, I'll read it. And there was nothing wrong with it. But also, I don't really know how to feel about it because I don't read graphic novels. I like the contrast of like the blue and the pink. I thought the illustrations were really cool. But I feel like for it, and this again is probably just me, like I feel like it being so, like there were like 25 chapters and I feel like we didn't really get anywhere with Hades and Persephone. So that could just be because it's like part 1 of this, but hopefully I'll read the next one because I'm invested. And the last one is Together by Luke Adam Hawker. This basically just follows a man and his dog during the pandemic and how they handle it. I thought this was super cute. It's not very long. Again, another like children's book. So yeah, I thought this was cute. So I thought I would cry. I didn't know this was about the pandemic. I thought it was just about like a man and his dog, and I was wrong, but his dog is invested in it as well as him, and they're just like them like together during the pandemic, and I enjoyed it. I thought it was cute. Anyway, this is really long. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. If you've read any of these books, comment down below your opinions and we can talk about them. Remember to comment, like, and subscribe, all that jazz. Thank you again so much for watching. Bye!